Gonna do what you think I'm gonna do, which is freak out. I'm not gonna have a cow. I'm not gonna cry. I'm just gonna go ahead and turn around and just show that I'm wearing my Carlos Correa jersey, and Brett's showing a whole bunch of stuff. And we're just gonna say our goodbyes to Carlos Correa and say, "What the heck, Astros? What the heck was going on?" And I think I have some ideas at what happened in this negotiation, and we'll talk about that. And are we gonna be able to complete this story with Trevor Story? We'll talk about that and more on this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on Twitter at Eric Talks Stros. Find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Brett, where can you find you at besides crying at 1 o'clock in the morning?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on Twitter and on Instagram at Astros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive. Let a fourth big star walk out the door. Always Stros.
All right. I saw a whole bunch of people like send me messages and text me late last night at 1 o'clock. I was in San Antonio and I saw it and I'm like, you know what? You've got to wake up early. You got to drive back to your Webster, which is just south of Houston for those of y'all that don't know. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to engage tonight. Let's just let it go. Let's just get a good night's sleep. And I did. And I guess, you know what? Maybe it's just because from the beginning, I've thought that Correa was probably going to leave. And not that I wanted him to leave. I know everybody said, well, Eric, you're super negative. You want him to go. That's not the case. I just thought that he always wanted more than the Astros could offer. But if you look at what the Twins gave him, it's like, yeah, there's something's not adding up. 3 years, 105.3 million.
Yeah.
That's all he got from the Twins.
But do you know what the kicker was?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's the actual opt-out years, and that's something that I think the Astros did not want to do. The Astros weren't it's so funny in a way. I mean, they didn't want to do that long-term deal. They didn't want to go past 5 years, but they also don't want to do a 1-year deal. And it's just, it doesn't make any sense. So let's say that they did the same deal. Let's say they did a 5-year deal, what they opt out after 1 year with Carlos Correa. That means we'll be going through the same ordeal next year. Carlos Correa could play for $35 million. I have a feeling that the Astros made a very similar offer to Carlos Correa and Scott Boras, but I just think that the big kicker was the fact that there was no opt-out, and Carlos Correa was like, look, this is not the best market. The teams that needed me don't really need me right now, so I'm just going to go short-term. What team will pay me the most? I want to be the highest paid infielder out there, the second highest player out there. And the Twins said, ooh, choose me.
And what did he? Well, you know, and here's the thing. And we need to bring Nash Walker on, because the more I talk to people who are in the know with the Minnesota Twins, their cap space, all the different things that they have, it's actually not as bad of a situation there in Minnesota. Now, it's still Minnesota. They're not going to make the playoffs next year, but Carlos Correa is 100% banking on having a career year and going back after that 10-year deal, because he'll still be under the age of 30. The kicker here, and I thought the same thing, Johnny Munoz says for $500,000 more a year, it wasn't the $500,000 more. And that's what I thought. It was the opt-out. And the Astros were not willing to offer him $35 million for 1 year, basically. And, you know, and we had discussed, Eric, doing a super 2-year deal, like 2 years for 65 or 80 million, and then opt out after those 2 years. Carlos Correa went into this, wanting a 10-year deal. I think once he kept evaluating the market and seeing what was going on, once the chips fell where they fell, he started realizing the market's not out there. Now, he did get offered, from what we believe, a couple 10-year deals. We don't know if that is 100% on the Orioles end. I'm assuming it's factual, but we didn't realize. And one of the things that has come out, and John Granado from one of the local radio stations said that the Astros, James Click and Jim Crane, ghosted Boris and Correa this past week. Now, if that's the case, that is a worse look than losing Carlos Correa. That is a worse look than in the face of not only Correa, but you lost Springer, you lost Cole, you lost Keuchel, you lost Morton. I mean, you need to go down the list. Now, we still have Altuve, we still have Bregman, we still have a very good lineup. I still think the Astros win the AL West. I still think they make it to the ALCS. But if Carlos Correa is the difference between 3 to 6 wins in a season, that could be 3 to 6 wins regular. That could be 3 to 6 wins postseason. And you hate to see a player like Carlos Correa leave. And a lot of Astros fans are asking this question: why wouldn't the Astros opt out? And I know you kind of answered that in your intro, saying you'd have to go over that, all over again. But you got Justin.
It's not just that. It's not just you have to go over this whole process again, but the Astros want to secure this Super 3, Super 4, Super 5 players for a long period of time. If you only sign Carlos Correa for potentially 1 year, what's to stop him from playing 1 year with the Astros, having an all-star season, then all of a sudden somebody just signing him next year? So that's what the Astros didn't want to do. And to address this before we get too far away from this, the whole ghosting thing, this is probably a situation where the Astros probably made their best offer. And you know how Scott Boras is. He's going to go for the blood. He's going to go for the kill. And so the Astros said, okay, look, this is the best thing we can do. 5 years. We maybe can go 6 years, maybe 7 years, depending on blah, blah, blah. If he stays healthy, if he plays this many games, I don't know what really happened here, but this is the best we can do. And unless you will come down on this, then we don't have anything for you. And then Scott Boras was trying maybe finagle or negotiate down or something, or else maybe. You know that girlfriend meme where you're walking with
where you're walking and you're walking with the girl and the other girl walks by and it's like, hey, that looks better. No, exactly.
Trevor Story.
No,
John Heyman says that Trevor Story.
Well, John Heyman says Trevor Story is now a possibility for Houston or New York. But here's the thing. They are very high on Jeremy Pena. Right. They are very high on him. Now, I've talked to people who watch minor leagues. I've talked to people who commentate on things, and they've given me mixed signals. They're like, I'm not as high on Jeremy Pena as most people are, and other people are like, I really like him. I think he's going to be a great addition. So it really depends on basically what Jeremy Pena does. It has nothing to do with how the Astros feel about him. It has nothing to do with what scouts say. It has everything to do. The proof has got to be in the pudding here. Jeremy Pena now has either a lot of encouragement to be great or a lot of pressure to be great. And you know what I did like, though, Eric? I liked the temperament out of the clubhouse as a whole. And of course, they're going to be professional. They're not going to be angry at Click or Crane. They're not going to bite the hand that feeds them, right? But at the same time,
it's not Billy Wagner or anybody out there, yeah.
Exactly. But at the same time, Eric, I really felt like the things they said were very genuine. And I think almost 24 hours removed, maybe more like 12 hours removed, I feel a little bit better. But initially, like Eric, my initial reaction was, what the F? The Twins? Like I was upset about the Orioles, but I understood the Orioles. But the Twins? Yeah. Like they've lost like 19 playoff games in a row. Like Minnesota, they have an open air stadium where it snows during the season.
You just hit it on the nail on the head. They've lost how many games in a row in playoffs? You need a player like Carlos Correa to get you.
You know what? See, this is why we're a great team, man. And this is why, dude, all week you've been like freaking out like having fun. And I've been stressing out, bro. I have been going from highs and lows.
Just get
And
Built Bar and
oh
just
man,
de-stress, have a good Built Bar. That'll be fine, Brett.
I probably ate more Built Bars than I should have. They say too much of a good thing is not good, but let me tell you, it's great with Built Bar. Built Bar is made with 100% chocolate wrapped around it, whether it's a Built Puff or a Built Bar. They are delicious. They are filling, and they have about 130 to 160 calories, 17 grams of protein, 4 or 5 grams of sugar, 4 to 5 grams of carbs. And if you're the healthy conscious guy or girl and you're stressed out like me over your team not signing a perennial Gold Glove Hall of Famer, then go grab a Built Bar. Go to built.com and use the promo code LOCKS15 for 15% off your order. Built.com, they have the best bar in the biz. They've got new flavors coming out all the time. You'll have to check them out. The Built Puffs, the Built Bars, whatever it is, they've got specials all the time too. So check it out at built.com. Use the promo code LOCKS15 to get your next Built Bar box.
All right, so I know that Arlie says my big question is, are we really going to trust a rookie at shortstop? I wonder what Bet Online would think about that question.
So at betonline.net, they have all the odds, all the props, everything you need to know, especially since March Madness is here. The U of H Cougars are trying to steamroll back to the Final Four. Baylor's trying to stay in it. The Texas teams are steamrolling the competition. And if you need information like that, if you need podcast, if you need to know the props and the players, or you just like Vegas casino games, go to betonline.net. It is your source for all sports betting needs. And they are the place that get the numbers first. They get the lines in first, and you get to read and be educated on what you're looking at. So betonline.net, where the game starts.
Alrighty, so you know what's very hysterical? Who are the teams that really wanted Carlos Correa? It seems like it was the Astros and the Yankees, even though Yankees fans say, "Oh no, we didn't
Oh
want
yeah.
him."
So before you continue, so the Yankees went from Carlos Correa, he is a Puerto Rican son of New York. We've got a big Puerto Rican community, and bring him here, bring him here. And then once he signed with the Twins, they're like, oh, see, we don't need him. And now they're like, a 1-year opt out. Carlos Correa gets traded mid-season. I'm like, these guys, poor Yankees fans. But you know what? This is funny. The Yankees got beat by the Pirates in their first spring training game. You don't lose to the Pirates
It's
ever.
time to rebuild.
Time to rebuild for the Yankees. Sorry, guys. We're still in first place, baby.
Alrighty. Speaking of the Yankees, it's very ironic that they were going for Carlos Correa, and they enabled the Minnesota Twins to get Carlos Correa. Just think about that. By taking on the contract of Josh Donaldson, they saved the Twins about $42 million. And so now that money was used to partially pay Carlos Correa. And now they have Gary Sanchez over there. They also have Gio Urshela over there. And so now you're going to have a couple of Yankees. One of them, particularly Gary Sanchez, hates the Astros. Carlos Correa, probably specifically. Now they're going to be on the same team together. That's going to be entertaining TV. And so that's definitely going to be something. So it's just funny to think that the Yankees actually made this happen. And you know when they're going to be facing the Twins at Minute Maid Park, August 23rd through the 25th. Get your tickets now.
We'll be there. I'll be there. I'll give Carlos a standing ovation. They're going to come up with a really good tribute video. It won't be like Sorry Toro. It won't be like the Abraham Toro video that was like 30 seconds long. It was the one highlight from Justin Verlander's no-hitter where the F is Toro game. But, here's the thing, Eric. The Astros ownership, I tweeted this like 4 days ago. This, I think, is a bigger swing and miss than when we lost Nolan Ryan. Forget Springer, forget Keuchel, forget Cole. I'm talking about the biggest moves in club history. Nolan Ryan, I remember when they let him go to the Rangers. That was painful. When he went into the Hall of Fame as a Ranger, that was even more painful. Carlos Correa. Now, Ryan had been with like 3 other teams before he got here, or 2 other teams. So that made sense that he picked because he broke all those records at the age he did. But Carlos Correa, at least giving him a 1-year flyer, at least making him that deal. At the end of the day, I think the reason why they didn't do it, Eric, is because they knew that Carlos was going to be one and done. and they were not going to pay him 10 years, and he would leverage a year with them to go make more money. And they were like, we've got to go ahead and move on. We've got Jeremy Pena, and they must believe in him that much. And we made our offer, and we made our offer. You didn't like it, right?
Okay, well, if you're in a dating world and there's this really hot chick you want to date, you know it's not going to last longer than a year, but you know that other chicks will see you dating this super hot chick, and they're like, well, if he's able to date that chick, by the way, dear, I'm not talking about you. So FI if you're listening to this, but I'm just giving you an example. So why not have Carlos Correa come back, have a breakout year, lead you to the World Series? If he leaves, who cares?
You know what?
I'm just rebuffing your argument there.
No, that's an excellent point, Eric. And the dating analogy totally misses me. I've been married 15 years now, and I have now me and my wife date, but it's not like anyways, you know what I mean.
But
So
yeah,
hey, I want to know this. What was some of the reaction
I'm
of
gonna
the
go with
players in the
Bagwell because
clubhouse?
Bagwell.
Okay,
I
go ahead.
mean, we can talk about the players, but Bagwell had some good ones. He
Yeah,
said
excellent.
I'm happy for him. He said on a place that he's happy with. I know it's difficult for people knowing that we lost Carlos. I know we made an offer to him earlier this year. Things happen in free agency. It's a business. I wish him well. But this is the part that's I love. I didn't think Minnesota would be the place, but that's Carlos' deal. I hope he plays well. Just grateful for the opportunity to watch Carlos grow, not just as a player, but as a human being. He's got a baby now. I couldn't be more happy for him. And there's one more, I think. Yes. And trying to get over what. Okay, there it's the way it works out because guys get good when you're in the World Series 3 out of 5 years and 2 ALCSs. You're going to get good players. Part of the business. It doesn't say anything about Carlos. It doesn't say anything about us. So
Okay.
it's not you. It's not me. It's just the situation. Stop winning. Stop having good players.
Bagwell is your consummate company guy. He is one of the only 2 Hall of Famers in club history. So, of course, he's not going to say anything, but this absolutely 100% is on the Houston Astros front office. And as much as Crane and Click try to deflect it and try to move on from it, it will be something that the fans don't soon forget. And if during that ALCS ring ceremony, James Click or Jim Crane say any words in front of the crowd, you better bet he's going to get almost a commissioner-esque response where he's probably going to be showered with partial cheers and partial boos. I would not be surprised. I was interested to see what someone like Justin Verlander said, and I like what he said. He said, I wish him the best in his career, but now we have to move on. I think people were prodding here and there, looking for hints on whether he would come back, but it didn't work out. We're ready to move forward. I think we're in the place we want to be, and we're ready to move forward. He also said it's nice to have clarity. He said, I've met Jeremy Pena. He said, we talked. I don't know much about the kid. I haven't seen him play, but from what I understand, he's ready to take the position, and I think he's going to basically do well this season. So to hear someone like Justin Verlander give those words of confidence to a Pena, I think says a lot about what they think of him.
All right, I went ahead and put the Twins record out there. The Twins were 73-89 in 2021. They weren't a great team, but Alex Bregman also said that he's just super happy for him, happy for his family. Look to my left and have him there. It's been that way for a long time. Now he's the highest paid infielder in history. He deserves it. He's the man. And so he's also said that he's going to miss kind of having these conversations at late at night, just talking about hitting. These guys are friends. And even I think Martin Maldonado, even though he was trolling us to death with all his tweets, basically he came out and said that Carlos Correa was basically texting everybody late last night and kind of saying, hey guys, this is what I'm doing. This is why I decided to go to the Twins. And so that's why he made this decision. And just FYI, I was not referring to my girlfriend, and that just FYI, my dating advice. So
No, hey, dude, it's okay. People are taking notes. Johnny Munoz is taking notes. He is going to have a hot day within the next week or two. Also Alex Bregman also saw something that he said that when Carlos got called up and Alex Bregman was in the minors, that he gave Alex one of his bats and he wished him luck. And he said this morning when I woke up, I was eating breakfast. My buddies told me about it, and I was definitely surprised. So he was surprised, and then Martin Maldonado, our favorite Twitter troll. He's a guy who will always be remembered by this organization. You don't get paid that much money if you're not that good. He's one of the top 5 players in the league. Kyle Tucker, I was interested to see what he said. He's not just one of the best. You got to respect it. Or he's just one of the best. You got to respect it. He did what he thought was best for his career. He'll definitely be missed, but but he knows how much we love him and care for him. I'm so happy for him. So Eric, the players are saying all the right things. They're professionals. Now they're more like their friendship and relationship means more to them off the field than on the field. But you can't deny on the field. We lost Springer. We were able to make it back to the Fall Classic without Springer. We haven't won one, but we've been very good. Does this club go to the ALCS again? And does this club go to the World Series without Carlos Correa? Or is he the reason they miss this season? What do you think?
okay, so this kind of goes back to what Arlie asked earlier. Should we put the faith in a rookie in Jeremy Pena to be the starting shortstop opening day? I think that's why the Astros went out and got Nico Goodrum. I think that's why they have a Ledmus Diaz. They have some depth options right now. I really think they are going to give Trevor Story a really good looking at because right now, the only 2 teams that not desperately, that potentially need a shortstop are the Yankees and the Astros. And
Because
go ahead.
have you heard? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Have you heard Story's willing to take a short-term deal?
Yeah, and I've also heard that he's willing to do a position change, but he would rather play shortstop because that's his position. And so I've heard all the rumbling about him potentially going play in Arlington. Can you imagine that team with 3 shortstops, one of them in center field or something like that? That would be totally crazy. But I think it would be kind of a bad look if you kind of ghost Carlos Correa, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, come here, Trevor Story. We want you. We want you.
Yeah, I
So
don't. Here's the thing, though. I know you're
what if they
what.
give him 35.2 per year?
See,
Oh, that'll
again,
be a burn. That'll be
no,
burn.
and they won't do that. If you're not going to pay Carlos Correa that, you're sure as heck not going to pay the non-platinum glove guy who had kind of a down season offensively that much money. I understand what you're saying, but right here, my question is this from Johnny. Do our Astros sign Story now or start negotiations with Tucker or Alvarez? Now, I posted a portion of a Yordan Alvarez interview from MLB Press Box this weekend. I don't know that I posted this portion of it, but they asked him, are you worried about getting an extension done? Have you talked to the Astros? Have they talked to you about that? He said, I would be interested if they wanted to talk to me, but he didn't seem like that was on his radar. Like he's focused on playing 2022, advancing in the playoffs. But that's a question that the press is already asking Alvarez. If you're going to consider extending Alvarez, I would think Tucker would be your number one priority because for what Tucker has to offer you all around, you have more total value as a player versus
Yeah.
the limited high impact value. Do you see what I'm saying? Because defensively, the speed,
I
not
still
just
don't
the
see. I don't think we've seen the full potential from Alvarez yet.
no. Oh, point well taken. But I still think, though, because of the double knee surgery at such a young age, Kyle Tucker has a greater impact war wise, defensively, and offensively overall than I think Yordan Alvarez. Now, I'm not discrediting Alvarez saying he's not good. He's a very good player.
Right.
But I think if you have to choose which one you start with, I think you start with Tucker and then bring in Alvarez into the talks.
Yeah. I think it was JC up here. He says, I don't think that this is a fumble at all by the Astros. No, I think that this was a well calculated decision. They've decided exactly how many years, exactly how much, and they decided how much they can go over because of this exact thing. Tucker and Alvarez. They knew exactly they were going to have to pay these guys. Then you're going to have Altuve and Bregman in the future kind of coming off the books as well. And you're going to have to make a decision with these guys. You've got Verlander. I know he's getting up there in age, but you're going to have to make some decisions. So so they decided they couldn't invest. They couldn't put all their eggs in one basket, so to speak, and with Carlos Correa. And that's what you would be doing. Because right now they have I know it's not all about the CBT and the luxury tax threshold, but if you went ahead and signed Carlos Correa for the 35.1 million this year, you'd be over the luxury tax threshold. And knowing Jim Crane, he would want to say, okay, well, we got to get rid of somebody to go ahead and go down. So or I don't know, but we don't
Well,
know what would happen. But I just think that the Astros made a calculated move in this case. And so it kind of worries me, the fact that I did go back to Arlie's question about, and go back to your question, Brett, about can the Astros be good without Carlos Correa? Yes. But my question is, what's next? What are they going to do with this extra money? Are they just going to turn around and throw it at Trevor Story? As much as I would like that, I think Trevor Story would be a great player. I don't know how he would play outside of Coors Field. I mean, you've got to adjust to your home ballpark. You got to
so
adjust to not playing away from that ballpark. But are you going to go out and get another reliever? Are you going to go out and get a center fielder? What are you
well,
going to do?
so Crane did say they will be active at the trade deadline, and I
Yeah.
assume that's for relief pitching, if I remember his comments correctly. But how ironic, okay? I'm gonna hit a little bit of a sore spot, but I think we're over it, so we can kind of laugh at ourselves. What was 2017's theme? What was the theme for 2017? Do you remember?
Earn it. No.
Earn it. Okay. 2017, earn it. Does anybody believe we earned it? No. Do you know what the 2022 theme is? Level
Um,
up. It's a level up. This year it's a level up. The Astros haven't leveled up. They've leveled down. And yes, this is a swing and miss by the ball club not to give him a 1 year, because if you know he's going to opt out after 1 year, okay, which more than likely he would anyways, because if he's really dead set on that 10-year contract, he's going to have another career year in Houston. Like you said, go ahead and sign him, win the World Series, let him go. Just let him go. But level down should be their theme until the ownership shows that they're willing to actually level up. And while I also don't fault the Astros for not wanting to go through the process all over again, if it is true 100% that they did not make any effort to contact Boris or Correa, which I find very hard to believe, but if they didn't, this is very much a bad look. I mean, the PR fumble that Crane had with the apologies initially, that was bad. This is worse. And let's just hope, because my hope and prayer for the Houston Astros, and I said prayer, is that they go back to the World Series in spite of losing Carlos Correa. And if they do, the criticism will still be there, but it won't be as deep seated, right?
right.
So they have to level up. They have to step it up, because now you're missing the guy that put you on his back. You're missing the guy that got into Framber's head and nearly pushed them into the World Series against the Rays in 2020, and a guy that is the brother of Jose Altuve. He is best friends with Lance McCullers Jr. HEB commercials will never be the same because Carlos Correa won't be in them. I
I
mean,
forgot about that. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, dude, this changes everything, marketing, everything. And so, look, I'll say this. I hate it. I hate it for this club. I hate it for Carlos, because there's a chance that if Carlos doesn't get on with the big club for 10 years, I mean, will he ever win a title anywhere else? I mean, winning a World Series, Eric, is not easy. I mean, the Braves got there and nobody expected them to get there, and it can happen to anybody, right? Right day, right time, right series, you get hot. But who's to say he goes to the Yankees, or who's to say he goes to heck, maybe Baltimore's more armed and more manned up in a year, and he goes there and he becomes the man. He will do Target commercials. Oh,
It's
good.
true.
I hate Target. Oh my God. Oh, I get it because Target Field. Okay, I was just
Okay,
thinking.
that's my girlfriend's favorite place. And speaking of which,
Well, that's a
uh,
terrible store, by the way.
her
I hate
her
it.
quote after Carlos Correa was signed, she said, "Now that the hype is over, let's move on." And so I think that's
No, Eric. I want to wallow in my pity and my pain.
yeah. So one thing I do want to kind of address on, I kind of forgot what I was going to say actually, um, but one thing I do want to kind of address on is what was it? I totally forgot.
I don't know. I think, were you going to go there talking about the Yankees moves? Were you going to talk about the AL Central? Were you going to talk? I mean,
No, I wasn't gonna go that deep. I
okay,
totally lost my train of thought, but
that's okay.
I just think that what Carlos Correa did, he did what's best for him. I think in the long run, I don't know if
I
it's
get
gonna
it.
work out.
I don't necessarily begrudge the man, and I
No.
think some of my initial reactions on Twitter
Oh
were
yeah, I
simply
remember.
because
Yeah.
I really like the guy.
Okay, let's talk about good things that Carlos Correa did.
Yeah,
That's what I
exactly.
wanted
There
to
we
say.
go. There we go. Favorite memory, Eric. Tell us your favorite memory of Carlos Correa.
No more dating advice. I got a text
Hey,
earlier, so
Johnny, let's
just
stay
kidding.
focused. Let's stay
Yeah,
focused.
stay
Carlos
focused.
Correa. Go ahead, Eric.
Favorite my favorite moment was it wasn't yeah, I think it was two of them are gone now, but when George Springer and Carlos Correa were in the locker room when Alex Bregman was drafted, and George Springer said, "Hey, Carlos, there's your replacement at shortstop." How ironic that both Springer and Carlos Correa are now gone, and Bregman's not even playing shortstop. I mean, I know that wasn't a Carlos moment, but just him
So,
coming up and dominating like he did versus the White Sox in his first series. But this kid, this guy, he may not have become the offensive force that a lot of people thought he was, but he was such a delete defender.
okay. So tell me, Cindy just let me know that I just lost all my female subscribers on the Target comment. Sorry. Hey, I'm not going to mince words. Y'all go shop at Target all you want to. Just shop. My wife loves it. I don't go in there. It's all good. Hey, man, we all can't think alike. Craig says here he was at his first. He was he was in St. Louis when Carlos hit his first grand slam. For me, Eric, my favorite Carlos moment was definitely his his walk off when he hit that home run in the 2020 ALCS against the Rays. I just thought that was something that I really thought that was going to be the play. But my favorite moment for me was like yours, off the field, and I just want to say it again because I don't know if everybody was here when I said it. 2015, Yankee Stadium, before the wild card game, Carlos Correa is interviewed, and they said, "Carlos Correa, you're a rookie. Are you nervous about today's game, your first playoff game in Yankee Stadium?" He said, "No. I've been preparing for this since I was 5 years old." That's when I knew that this kid was going to be a superstar. I was impressed, and I've never forgot it. And Carlos Correa, he gave his heart and his soul to this team. And even though I think I was initially mad because I feel like he left money on the table, or he left to go for money, he left to sign for the big dollar, the more I hear about the situation, it does seem like Carlos really didn't think the Astros had his best interest in mind, and he was willing to go get paid. And I don't begrudge a man who is able to go out there and make as much money as he can because of the hard work he's put in, because he has worked hard his entire life.
And the thing that I've been kind of touching on, I know we got to wrap up pretty soon, but just the way he kind of became the team leader, especially after the trash can scandal, just the way he just took on Cody Bellinger, he took on Joe Kelly, anybody that came after the Astros, he just kind of became the enforcer. He'd been like, no, talk to me because I talk back, that type of person. And so where everybody else was kind of quiet about it, he's the one that came out and said something about it. Yeah, we did it. So what? You did it too, or whatever he would say. And I really, that's a leader. And I feel like I'm sure we have that on the team now. I'm sure somebody like Yuli will step up, or Jose Altuve. I know he's more of a quiet type leader, but kind of like Biggio and all that. But I don't know how he is in a clubhouse, but that's just kind of how he reminds me of. But I'm sure we have leader, but just think about it. We've lost Springer and now we've lost Correa. Those are two big personalities in the clubhouse. So that's going to be a big losses.
It is. It is going to leave a void, but these are professionals. The thing the Astros have in their court, and this is what people forget, and I don't know how you can forget this, they're the most seasoned playoff team in the entire league. They, even without Carlos Correa being here, have been picked to be the favorites coming out of the AL. They have a chance to go to their sixth straight ALCS, to their fourth World Series in 6 years. This team still has Altuve, Bregman, Brantley, Gurriel, Tucker, Alvarez. Maldonado, I know, is catcher. Chas McCormick right now in center field, Jeremy Pena. You've got guys coming up in the wings. You've got Lee. You've got Pedro Leon. You've got others. You've got other pitchers. You've got various position players. This team is well established, and this team will do great things. Now, they have a tougher division in the West, and we'll get to those division crossovers coming up before we hit to the regular season. But the Mariners are real players. The Angels could get hot. The Rangers are going to be somewhat competitive. I still think they lack pitching. But this team, make no mistake, is still very, very competitive and one of the top three teams in the AL, if not the favorite.
Yeah. So I'm still just weirded out that the Astros didn't match that, and I still think they offered the 5 years. I think that at the end of the day, it just came down to they just didn't want to do the opt-out cause, and that's really what happened there. The Astros wanted the long-term relationship, Carlos Correa and Scott Boras. Oh, that's also what I wanted to talk about was the whole Scott Boras side of the relationship. Yes, because of his previous uh, contract with his old agent. If he signed a multi-year deal, Scott Boras would not have been able to get a lot of that or any of that deal. So yes, that could have played a role in this. I don't think Carlos Correa was like, you know what, I'm going to take a 1-year deal just because of that. But maybe that's what happens because Boras is like, you know what, Correa, you're a rock star. You're an all-star. You're going to go out there. You're going to knock them dead. But let's just get a 3-year deal. I'm gonna make you the highest middle infielder or infielder out there. You'll be making records, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna become all-star. You're gonna win another platinum glove. You're gonna hit 30 home runs, and you can opt out after next year. Then you can get that 10-year deal you want. That's what we can do. And then Scott Boras is like, money, 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 money.
Very good, excellent. Now, one thing Greg brings up, and I'll wrap my end on this. He said, "I'm excited to finally have first round picks again in the draft." And
Oh yeah.
now there is a lottery system though, and so we have to get into that. We would be in the top 10, but yes, we do have that chance. But we can only be in the top 10 one year. We can't go 2 years in a row if we're a top tier team.
And we do get a pick because Carlos signed with some other team.
We do get a compensation pick. So here's the thing though. I know your comment about Boras, and I know a lot of people have said that, but I don't know if it was you or someone else told me Boras works for Correa. Correa doesn't work for
Right.
Boras.
That's why I said it doesn't
So,
matter.
yeah. So hey man, wish you all the best, Carlos. Thank you for the memories. It was great when we got your autograph, when we met you, took a picture with my son, saw many memories there at Minute Maid Park, watch you on TV. But no offense, Carlos. I hope you're sitting at home in October.
I don't know if a lot of y'all know this, but I actually had the honor of actually interviewing him when I was back at Climbing Tiles Hill. He was still a AA, and I think I got in contact with his lawyer somehow. I don't even know how to happen, but I got in contact with his lawyer, and They're like, hey, you want to do a phone interview? You cannot record it. You can actually talk to him. So I actually talked to him, and it was pretty cool to actually do that. But yeah, this guy was he was the heart of this team, and I think that the Astros are going to have to find a way to do it. Jeremy Pena can be the answer. You're going to have to be patient. There's going to be some growing pains with him. He is a rookie. He is going to make some mistakes. You can't, like, if he has a bad first week, you can't say, "Oh, get him out of here. Let's get Aledmez Diaz in here. Let's put Nico Goodrum in there and not give him a chance." You got to give this kid a chance to have some growing pains. And that's my thought of the day with Eric Huysman.
That's true. And this is why I'm going to put this quote up here. You cannot replace Carlos Correa. You are
Right.
finding a shortstop. That's where the focus has to be. You're just finding
Right.
a shortstop. You're not going to replace him. There's
Right.
not another Carlos. There's not another top 3 shortstop out there. It's not Trevor Story. It's not Jeremy Pena. But Jeremy Pena said, I'm not replacing anybody. I'm Jeremy Pena. I'm out there to be me. I'm to be the best person I could be. So get behind this kid Pena. If Goodrum makes a start, get behind him. Whoever's at shortstop, they're Houston Astros. And that's the bottom line.
Yeah, I'm not sad. I'm actually relieved it's over. We can move on. And I think Justin Verlander said it best. There's clarity now. We know the situation. Now we can look forward. And I think Jason Castro said, we were never banking on him coming back. Now we can focus on moving on. And I think that's what the Astros need to do. What's next? What does it take to level up to get back to the World Series this year? That's all we got for this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast. Go Stros, and we will talk to you again on Sunday night.